do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. Man, that is some booty.
That's horseshit.
Or I'm sorry, is there a difference between being well-rounded and then being a jack of all trades, master of none? Like, is there a difference?
The ones that will catch my attention a lot of the times are the guys that are just cranking out work.
Because I think we all suffer from like imposter syndrome, you know, thinking that you're not as good because it's like, it's creative. Yo, man, don't you love that track, man? Bring it down a little bit. Yeah,
as much as we do.
Don't you guys love that track? I made the devil roar. Yo, welcome to the 180 degree
What was
podcast.
that? My gosh. That's a fantastic way to start the podcast.
Hey, man, sometimes you got to turn up, let them know you in here.
Oh, my gosh. So, speaking of, we just got off of a pretty good conversation through Instagram Live. I feel like we got a couple questions that we want to answer for our followers. I guess more so your followers, since it was your live.
Yeah. Yeah, man, absolutely. We're going to hop into all those questions real quick. Hold up, bro. Just for everybody at home, why don't you come this way a little bit just so we can get that light. Yeah, just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Just a little bit that way. Perfect.
All right.
There. Yo, so welcome to the 180 degree podcast. You got me, Joseph Garcia, and Tyler Manis Photo on Instagram. Keyboard King would be for me. We're also on TikTok, YouTube, all those good places. So welcome, guys. I'm glad that you guys are joining us today. And today, the first question of the day is actually coming from James Thim, is actually saying, when starting out, how do you price out your client work? That's like a hella good question, bro.
Wow.
Like when you're first starting out, dude, like right now, like, oh man, I'll tell you straight up. I'll be like, I'll tell you how much. I was like, I won't get out of bed for less than $1,500. You know what I mean? But not everybody can say that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely feel like could also be a long question. There's so many factors. I'm like being, I guess even your not demographic, where you are. God, I can't word today.
Yeah, I can see that a little bit. You know what I mean? So you're saying
demographically.
Okay.
Geographically.
Okay, so you're talking about like everywhere.
Kind of both.
Yeah.
Because like our prices here in the city, here in Oklahoma City, are going to be different from Dallas, LA, what have you. But as far as that goes, I guess you can, in a way, you can kind of, it's not a bad idea to even kind of browse what other people have listed on their pricing.
Oh,
as
dude.
As a decent start. Because I've done that.
Good.
I've done that.
Oh, dude, I've done that. I mean, I think we've both done it, actually. Like, you know what? We were actually working on, like, some wedding stuff, and we're just like, hey, let's see what, like, everybody else is, like, pricing out, you know, on their stuff. And we were just like, and then Tyler and I looked at each other. We looked at some of the work that was happening, and not to be rude to any other videographers or anything, we were like, dude, this is what we're pricing out our stuff at? Like, are you kidding me? Like, dude, and we see their work, like, you know, because they have their portfolio, you know, set up and everything like that. And
it's just a kind of a topic that you want to tread lightly on, because you don't want to be rude and I mean, we're not trying to be negative toward other creators.
Right.
Different creators are at different points in their career, but then you kind of say you price something and it's, you know, your work is better than someone else, but then you kind of put yourself in the same realm of, okay, they're getting this price for their work. Why can't I get more, or that price or more for better work, or what I feel is better work?
Yeah. So like I would even look to it in the same way, man. I'd look at it like also in terms of, you were saying, like, as far as your area is concerned. So for example, if somebody walking out with 6 figures, like in California, 6 figures is nothing. 6 figures is maybe like 40 grand here in Oklahoma City where we're located, you know what I mean? And so I think that the price also reflects that whenever you go to a different place. Am I right, or am I right?
Right. And also the clients that have tried to compare or say their videographer for the same project is going to be lesser than what we would charge here.
Yeah.
Trying to get the deal.
Yeah,
so.
Exactly. Like, we've had people do that. But I want to kind of tackle the question, because I hate it whenever people ask questions and they don't really answer it directly. So we talk pretty generally about it, but I want to talk a little bit more about when you're starting out, dude. Like, you really have no idea. Like, you maybe have a handful of things in your portfolio. You're still every now and then thinking about, all right, well, what do I do with like white balance? What do I do with lights? Like, you're still questioning if you are, you're still questioning if you're going to, like everything that you're doing, you're still kind of guessing. So when you're at that point, like, how would you price yourself out? Like you're literally like starting out, you know, one camera. You know?
Right. And then there's people that price things different ways. Like some people will say, you know, take all of the equipment and gear that you have and then break it down by percentage, and there's your answer.
Right.
But that's kind of hard to gauge for, say, someone that has been doing this for a long time, just went freelance by themselves. They only have X amount of gear, but can they kill it with that gear?
Yeah.
Like I think that's the difference.
Oh, yeah.
And it's kind of setting yourself where you think your prices should be for the quality that you put out, the amount of time that you put out, your expenses on equipment.
Bro,
things like that.
No, dude, so good. Because so there's this cat. He's on YouTube. It's called The Future, I believe. This Asian cat. His name is Chris Doe, I believe. And he's actually said something. He said, whenever somebody calls you to do like a job, when they call you, you're already qualified. Like you don't have to win that client when they call you. Like if they called you, you're already qualified. Like you can't, because I think we all suffer from like imposter syndrome, you know, thinking that you're not as good because it's like, it's creative.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so I think that that's like really good whenever it's like, oh, okay, like I don't know if I'm better than them or as good as them. Dude, it really needs to come down to how much do you think you're worth? Like it sounds so silly, but it's like forget everybody's prices and just see where you're at. What do you think?
Right. It's kind of dependent on how you want to run it, because there's also people that run value-based pricing. So
that's good.
I figure that it's whatever works best for you and whatever works best in the industry that you're in, and I guess where you're at in your career is kind of the direction on where you want to go as far as pricing goes.
Right. No, yeah, definitely. So if I was to go ahead and shorten it for you guys and tell you like, what do you do? Look up prices of other people, number one. Number two, actually just own up to your time. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, like me, like if you tell me to edit something for you, that's just like it's a quick little cut here, cut there or whatever. My time is a little bit more valuable than that. You know what I'm saying? Right. So like maybe somebody else, you can pay them $25 and they'll edit it for you. But I'm like, if you pay me, I will literally do the same work, but I'm going to charge anywhere from $75 to $150 per hour for editing, you know?
And we do that with our clients. Like as far as what you just said, if it's just a quick edit to say, hey, we can do it, but because our time is limited and we're going to have to charge you a little bit more.
Yeah.
So we want you to feel free that you have the ability to go contact someone else. You're not going to hurt our feelings about it, but you know, we like to be pretty transparent in that regard.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I always, if I was to say it in this way, remember this, that whenever it comes down to getting your car fixed, if you go to just some random like guy who has a shop, he'll fix it and it'll be cheaper. But if you go to like the dealership, like the manufacturer, and then you tell them to do the same thing, they're going to upcharge you. Why? Because it's the name brand. Like it, you know,
they're the experts.
Yeah, exactly. They're the experts. And like, I mean, hey, there's some people that can guess at some shots and they'll look just as good as mine. Like, let's be real about it. You know what I mean? So anyway, I think that was a really good question. Yo, thanks, man. I appreciate that. So
sorry for not being able to kind of like narrow it down a little bit better for you, but
yeah,
I guess
like
kind of give you some different direction. Right.
Yeah. Cause I'm sorry. Unfortunately, I don't think I can actually give you, you know, numbers exactly. All right. So the next one that we have here, I'm going to hop into this question, switching it up. All right. It says, what was your worst modeling experience?
Oh no.
Dude, I've had way too many worst model experiences.
Well, run it first and then I'll follow suit.
Okay. So one of my worst modeling experiences, man. Okay. So you have someone who says that they're a model.
Very
broad term. I feel so rude for saying that, but you know, I'm not saying that I'm like the best model ever, but I don't call myself a model. You know, there's a difference. Like if you call yourself a model, like I would suggest that you got to know a little something. So anyway, so then like the person shows up and she was like, hey, let's go ahead and, you know, shoot these. And I was like, all right, let's do it. And she just kind of like sat there and she was waiting for me to tell her. I'm like, yeah, well, you know, maybe try this, you know, and I try to give her some direction. And then whenever I stopped giving her direction, she would just stop and she would just stand there. And she'd be like,
what do I do with my hands?
I know. And she was like, are we still shooting? And I'm like, yeah, my guy, of course we're still shooting. Like, well, I'm here for like no reason. You know what I mean? And so then, and it was just, I know it sounds so simple, but it was just so frustrating because she would just stand there. And I'm like, dude, I'm not the model. Like, you think I know all these poses? I'm a photographer. I have a very selected amount of poses that I go to, and like, that's all I will do. So I would suggest when you show up, you're going to shoot with me, please know what you're doing, because I ain't no model. If that was the case, I would just call Tyler and be like, hey, Tyler, take photos of me and I'll model.
Right.
Like, let's be real about it. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that was it. It's not that bad.
No, and I have a lot of different ones and different scenarios that I could give you. But one thing that kind of is a pet peeve of mine, ladies, whatever, like male, female, what have you, if you're going to bring a significant other, which I would suggest either bringing a significant other, your mom, anyone, just for safety's sake. If you've
bring your mom and your grandma.
If you've not shot with that person before. However, if he is hovering over you or me or my shoulder every single shot that I do, that's a problem.
Why do you say that that's such a problem, bro?
If I can't even turn to move to be able to shoot a different angle or what have you, if you're that close to me, that's an issue. That is an issue. God, I have so many, but like I said, it's not the fact that he was there. I would prefer people to have someone with them, but give us space. Don't be asking me 37 questions every 5 minutes because you're there.
You know, I think that it comes down to, like, whenever you have somebody that, like, shows up with you, because I think it's a good thing, because I've had that happen to me before, where, like, you got a girl who she doesn't feel necessarily very safe. I mean, I always try and do my best to not be a creep, number one, and number two, be like, yeah, like, I respect you. If you want to bring somebody, feel free. But I've always told people, I said, hey, if they do it, I just want to let you know, like, I'm shooting here. You know what I mean? Like I'm going to act the exact same way with you, with whoever, because I'm doing my job. Does that make sense? As compared to, like, other people that they're like, hey, are you going to do that? I was like, or like, for example, like if I go up to you and I say, hey, can you do this? And if they don't do the exact motion, I'm going to go walk up next to them and I'm going to pose and be like, hey, why don't you do something like this? Like, I'm not trying to get close to your girl. I'm not trying to touch her hair. I'm not trying to touch her body. I'm trying to show her what it is that I want her to do. And so if you have a problem with that, okay, maybe you should stay home. I want you to feel safe, but, like, I mean,
right.
I'd rather you stay home. You know what I mean?
Bring a friend, maybe.
You know, that's a good idea. Bring a friend. So anyway, we are going into another question. By the way, welcome to High Visuals. This is the spot right here. We down here. All right, so the next thing we got is, like, if you lose inspiration, how do you get it back, man? You lose inspiration, how you gonna get it back?
Yeesh. So shooting...
Tyler's like, I don't know, because I have lost my inspiration.
Right, so shooting client work, you know, whenever we're super busy with client work, you kind of don't have as much creative freedom as you would want. And so when you're shooting for someone else and you're so tied down to a certain look, it's like you can't flourish. You can't, you get what I'm saying? You can't really.
So you're saying, like, maybe you're saying, like, don't do client work and in that moment or something like that?
No, I would say, like, if you are doing an obscene amount of client work, I would say still, even if you're tired, like we've done this before, try to make time for yourself and your own personal projects.
Right.
Because I think that's, even if it's like you have no motivation, you have no will to go do content, force yourself to do so to get those creative juices flowing. Otherwise, I feel like you'll just be stuck in this rut. And the longer that you don't force yourself to get out there and do something, the worse it's going to get.
Right.
I mean, I have personal experience with that one.
Yeah, no, for sure. So, like, I mean, as far as, like, losing inspiration, what I would suggest the best thing to do is, man, take a break, bro. Like, when I say take a break, man, because here's the thing. Here's like a very interesting concept. A lot of individuals think, or they believe, that because it's something that they love doing, that it's not work. No, sir. It is work. Like, it truly is work. Whenever you're out here, like, actually, like, doing it every single day, you're editing, you're shooting, like, bro, your mind, your creative mind gets tired. And so if it gets tired, that means that it is work. So don't ever think that it's like, you know, that whole concept that said, like, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. Man, that is some booty.
That's horseshit. Let's be honest with you.
That's booty, son. Because
I kind of would keep it in the same realm as getting burnout.
Oh yeah, there you go.
So there's two ways to address it for me is, like, force yourself to go do something on your own terms, and then also take a break completely. Like, there's been family vacations where I'm like, oh, I'll just bring a camera. And then I find myself, like, shooting, and I'm like,
the whole time.
Don't get me wrong. I love having that footage later down the road, but it's been a bit since I've just had a vacation.
Right, exactly.
And like, especially whenever we go with other people, they're like, oh, Tyler will bring a camera. Even if there's no camera around, they'll hand you the phone. Be like, hey, take these. You're the photographer. Like,
no,
do
dude.
my taxes. You're my tax guy. Do them right here. Like, I don't ask you to do your work outside of your work.
Exactly. And that's the biggest thing, is to keep in mind that when you understand that you're working, you need to understand that you need breaks at the same time, and you need to make time for yourself. And number 3 is also like, dude, do something like Tyler said before, do something like for you. Like, I remember, dude, what did we end up doing? Like, there was that one time, I think we ended up shooting like until like 2 in the morning. Like, we went out there like at 9 o'clock, a night shoot. And maybe you guys saw some of these photos. It was like a lot of like long exposure stuff, like a lot of nan lights. Like, we did a lot of stuff like that.
That was the basketball one too,
Yeah,
right?
the basketball one, yeah. And so we shot like a lot of stuff, like for, we shot a lot of stuff, together. And it was really kind of like therapeutic, because Tyler and I always have a model, or we always have like to shoot certain things for the client, or we're always, the client is even there. They're looking at like our client monitor, and they're like, oh, that looks good. Or, and even if it's like a positive thing, it's like, dude, let us just, oh man, just let us do us. You know what I mean?
Let us be in the moment.
Yes. Please let us be in the moment. And that's the biggest thing that I would suggest, is like, do something. And even, man, just leave your camera at home. Watch yourself some movies.
I feel like that night that we went and shot, that long night, time also flew. Like,
big time.
I was like, oh crap, it's 2 in the morning.
It's like, why do I have 16 missed calls from my wife right now? For real.
Not wrong. I think it was 12. I'm just kidding.
No, yeah. So I would definitely suggest that. No, big time. It was such a good time. And I think that you can tell whenever you watch when you look at those photos, even when you look at them, you can tell, oh man, these guys are just having fun with this. Like, they weren't even trying to be client specific or trying to be like nice to a client or anything like that. Right. You know what I mean? So anyway, anything else to add on that, man? I'll move on to the next question.
Nope. All right. Keep it short and sweet, I guess.
That's right. So moving on to the next one, we have something right here. The importance of knowledge sharing and collaboration. So how do you add a value for a client? Dude, that's like really good. Like, how can you sell something to a client? Okay, let's talk about this for a second. A client is saying, hey, I want to come to you because you make dope videos, this and that. But like, at the end of the day, dude, like, if it doesn't perform, like, how's that going to make you feel? Like, the video's dope, but like, if you don't execute, like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you give value to the client? Like, if they say, oh, well, so-and-so makes it cheaper, that whole circle, that whole thing, you know what I mean?
In regards to the actual shooting part, or like the planning process, like where are we going?
Man, pick your poison, man. We'll hop into it.
Man. I'd say kind of being like the quote video experts, we are kind of aware of trends and things like that are going on that we can kind of implement. And kind of the do's and don'ts. I guess it's kind of a long question as far as like where it could go for me at least. Yeah,
for sure. So like I would even say that like if you want to add like value to like a client, if you want to build stuff, like one of the things that we typically do is like if you want to build value to a client, tell them everything that you're doing. Like, I think we heard that on a podcast or like a video that somebody said, write everything down. Like, everything that you got to do, write it down. So for example, like if you had to, we always build the value of like, hey, we're bringing these kind of cinema grade cameras. We're bringing these kinds of drones. We're bringing these kinds of lights. A professional lighting package. It's your editing software. It's an industry level. Industry standard. Like it's things like that for you to like. It sounds pretty. No, don't it?
No, and that's another realm that we could go down is like if you're trying to build value in the actual like say written proposal,
right?
Or if you're trying to build value in like here's your video. Go find a social media person to learn how to boost it and have it perform well, because we can make a banger video. If they put it on their business page, they're going to get 7 likes.
Yeah, if you don't share, I mean, it is what it is.
So there's many different types of values that we could be adding to our client. It just kind of depends on which direction.
We talked about it a little bit, bro, but I was going to say, of course, size matters, man. It matters, right? When you show up to a gig, you kind of want to rig out your camera just so they can be like, oh,
that's impressive.
That's impressive. No, I mean, like, I'm going to be straight up with you. Like, look, if you guys were to look at this setup that we have here, like, some cameras do look large or whatever, but they're literally just the camera bodies. Like, they don't look big and fancy, but if you look at our image, like, I mean, you got a good image.
Right,
like,
and that's how I feel like with the A7S III. It is a monster of a camera. but it looks like a consumer grade camera.
Yeah, just like a little tiny camera.
So when we go show up to shoots, initially the first camera that we like to bring out would be something like the FX6. And so in that regard, I would say they feel a little bit better about their investment if they see like, oh, look at this cinema camera. Like people that we've shot with before, like they'll story the cinema cameras. They won't put the smaller camera.
The one that's on like on a gimbal. They won't story that.
Even though they could be, the smaller camera could be the same quality or better, they're going to story the big filmmaking looking camera. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Man, it just sucks that that's really what has come down to, like, because they're just so used to seeing that because it's so fancy and so big. And then like, if they only knew that, did you know that when you watch movies and if they do like some crazy camera work, something that looks so sick, that camera is rigged down to the bone so that it will look good. Like, I mean, a lot of people don't realize that, but it's the truth. Like, so size, like, I mean, yeah, it may matter to some people, but at the end of the day, like, I don't know, man. I've told Tyler, I was like, dude, I don't care if it's the size, if it looks good or not. Tyler's like, yeah, it looks better, man. Like, you know,
I mean, I'm that guy. I'll be honest with you. Like, I'm the one that's like, yeah, we want to pull out the FX6 first, just because it's like they just spent thousands of dollars on us.
Yeah,
and we're gonna show up with what looks like their Aunt Sally could have.
And that's the thing that, but like, I always tell Tyler, I'm like, dude, we can, but I'm like, I'm so much faster on this. I was like, I don't have to do some post-processing on the stabilization like I have to do on the FX.
No, and it goes the same for me. Like if I'm just pulling a camera out to shoot something really quick, 99% of the time I'm grabbing an A7S III.
Yeah.
Just because so much less of a hassle. We got IBIS, all that stuff. It's fast and functional.
Hey, man. Well, speaking of, man, I mean, I think that this goes hand in hand. Another question that we got right here from Ms. Victoria, she had said, how important is it for you to actually find your niche in photography or videography? Like, how important is it to find your style and to also find exactly what you're doing in this industry? Like, why is that so important? Because everybody talks about that. They're like, you need to find your niche. You need to find exactly what you're doing.
Right. And I think we've touched on this on a previous episode, so we won't go too far into it. But you don't want to be that jack of all trades, master of none situation.
Facts.
But in the process of learning on how to shoot different stuff, absolutely shoot a lot of different stuff just to kind of learn. But as far as like the people that are, for instance, shooting weddings, you'll hardly ever see them list a brand video, a promo video, what have you. They're there for the wedding videos because that's their niche, that's where they're killing it, and that's where their money's coming from. They're not going to hire that person typically for a promo video.
Right, exactly. And I think that that's like one of the biggest things is that like I've seen some people do that have dropped some like really good product stuff. You know, I've seen people drop like really dope product kind of things like where you look at it and you're like, wow, that looks really clean. That's so sick. And then you see them shoot a wedding and they don't even know how to like, I don't know, dude. They're shooting 12 frames a second. I'm like, dude, it ain't stop motion, man. Like, I mean, it ain't a photo. Like, you know, let's do what we're supposed to do here. And so that's what kind of sucks is that like, just because you're good in one area, man, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're good. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Like, can I do product stuff? I can, but like, if you stick me in a brand or a promo shoot, oh, dude, I'll kill it in a promo. You know what I mean? Like, it's different, man. Like, I think you got to decide, you know?
And also, if you happen to be working with a team, like, if someone's better at something, even if it's maybe something that you would prefer to do over you doing something else, let the person that's better at that do that specific job because it's overall going to make the production better.
So where have you experienced that exactly?
Working with you.
Well, let's get more specific, bro. What do you mean by that?
Oh man, now he's reaching for these compliments.
I'm not reaching. I'm not reaching. But it's really just being a little bit more specific, man, in terms of like, okay, like what is it that you want to stay away from and what are the things that you want to do? And then how does that affect you in terms of choosing your niche? Like if there's something that I'm better at, for example, and you're like, oh, well, I don't want to touch that because
at least on certain jobs that we've done where we very seldom where we are shooting both photo and video, if we can get away with it, one person will shoot video, which is Joseph, and then I'll shoot photo.
Right.
I guess that's kind of not really niche specific, more so job specific.
Right. But I think it translates though, bro. Like I really do think it translates.
In a way, yes, it does. Like I feel like I'm a little stronger in photos and you're stronger in videos. So why not let that play out.
Yeah, for sure. So like, I mean, considering this question, man, then let me ask you this. How about this? If you were to choose one, is it better to be well-rounded or I'm sorry, is there a difference between being well-rounded and then being a jack of all trades, master of none? Like, is there a difference?
Not specifically. I mean, not.
I know it's a hard question.
I don't really think it is. I would prefer people that are first starting out, like I said, to shoot a variety of different things.
When they're first starting out, though.
Yes,
right?
But moving forward, I do think you guys need to niche down a little bit.
Yeah.
And so get really good at that.
So, like, here's my question for you, bro. At what point would you decide, like you're saying, okay, at the beginning, you start off, become well-rounded. All right, we're good. At what point would you say, all right, now you need to start kind of niching down and start picking your poison of what you're going to be really good at? Like, at what point would you do that?
I guess the sooner the better, because you can really start mastering that craft, like, as quickly as possible and building your name in that niche.
Gotcha.
And, like, that's why there's guys that if we have someone that needs real estate photos, I know who to call because that's all he does.
That's what he does.
And that's all he's good at.
Facts.
Take that back. That's not all he's good at. That's what he's best at.
Sorry, that went over my head. I knew what you meant to say.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Reads the guy on our real estate photos. He kills it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, because I think that it comes down to, like, whenever it comes to it, I would kind of disagree with Tyler for a little bit here, because I wouldn't say the sooner the better. What I would suggest is get to the point where like, the basics solid. Know the basics of, like, for example, like, a setup that you're seeing right now. Know the basics of, like, what key you're going to use, what angles you're going to use, what lenses you'll use on those bad boys, how you're going to set things up, are people going to be moving, what camera work do we want? Like, look at all those things first. Bring down, like, this is a basic setup, man. Nobody's moving, you see Tyler right here.
Focus is pulled.
Focus is
locked.
pulled, like, nobody is, getting out of the way. This thing is the only thing that's moving, and it's on a slider, and it's literally going to do the exact same thing every time, right? So with that said, once you got all these elements down, okay, then go and start niching down. And why do I say that? Because imagine if you're like a wedding videographer, but you're used to doing brand-specific things. I'm going to put this in two ways. You got wedding videographers, and let's say travel filmmakers, and I'll come to them in a second, like YouTubers. Like, you got those two on this side, and then over here you have, like, product photos, maybe like some brand stuff, and, things are in a controlled environment. What happens, bro, the day of tomorrow, whenever, like, you learn all this stuff about lighting because you can control it, and then you go outside and when you're YouTube travel montage or you're doing a wedding
and nothing is controlled.
Nothing is controlled, bro. Like, you out there by yourself, strapped with your guns, being like, okay, how do I do this? You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's what I would suggest is, like, learn your craft first, get the basics down before you get out there, because you're going to be struggling.
I guess that kind of goes hand in hand with as soon as you can, because I did say as soon as you can. I didn't really specify.
Oh, is that right? He's changing his answer. He's like, dang, that was really good, better than mine.
Golf clap.
Golf clap. No, yeah. So there you go. I think that's like I think that was a really good question. So, dude, this is a good one. How do you differentiate? How do you differentiate yourself as a creator in this? I still messed that up. But how do you make yourself stand out in a saturated industry? So
you're looking at me while asking that, but I'm going to shoot it right back at you.
Wow, thanks, man. Maybe it's because, why don't you look at the questions then? I'm over here getting all the questions. He's right. I think that's something that I would probably be able to adequately answer, I would hope. That's tough, man. Like, you want to make yourself stand out. The best thing that I would suggest is, I'm going to go back to what we talked about just earlier, but I think that you should learn kind of the basics of it, especially in like YouTube and like Instagram, because that's kind of where everybody's kind of like focusing on, or maybe even TikTok. But my thing is, go ahead and first copy other people first. Like, let's just go straight up, copy them.
I don't know if I'd say copy, maybe more so of like recreate, so you can test like, okay, how did they do that?
Right. So here's what I would say. So what I was trying to get at was basically like, number one, before you get into that, to make yourself different, first copy it, because a lot of people they don't even start. Like, they don't start because they feel that their stuff isn't different enough. It's not cool enough. That's what they do. So they don't do anything. They say, okay, until I get it all nice and perfect and my plan is set up to a T, then I'm going to start. Nah, dude, that's not how it goes. Literally just start. Copy whoever you see and do it. And then as soon as you start doing that, you're going to start realizing, okay, I'm going to start picking apart. And this is where I say, this is probably the actual part of the question that you're actually wanting to know, is start looking at everybody that you like and take all the elements, break them down. What elements do you like of them? Take it from them. And then all of a sudden, what was once, Peter McKinnon's, what was once Matty Hapoya's, what was once Tyler Manis's, now you bring it together and bring it up. Dude, I had a moment. Let me tell you something, bro. I had a moment that I felt really good. There was a guy who he made a video. And in that video, there was a transition where like a foot came down and the camera kind of shaked. And it was like a pan down and it looked pretty cool, right? And he added like a shake at the end. And then a guy commented, and it was the top comment on there. Obviously, only had like 300 views, but it was like the top comment. And the guy says, "Oh, I see you ripped a Joseph Garcia transition." And in that moment, I said, "Oh my goodness, I have made it. I have made it." Somebody says that something was one of my transitions. And
did you do that?
I did.
I made have to check that out.
Yeah, I made it in a video about, it was basically my VidCon recap whenever I went out there. And I put that in. And it was just really cool because in that moment, I was like, oh, wow. I wasn't trying to copy anyone. I just saw a shake from You Got Served. You Got Served when they would jump.
Yes.
And it shakes. I was like, I like that concept. And then I saw this transition, like a mass transition, and I was like, oh, mass transition going down, that's going to look good. And then I piece those things together, and all of a sudden, it's like, hey, that's a Joseph Garcia transition. So,
hey, look at you.
I know, man. It was a
wild
wild
moment. I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, it was pretty dope, though, man. So that's what I would suggest as far as that's concerned.
I think that's a pretty solid answer, to be real with you.
Oh,
I'm not really sure if I have any
well, thanks, man.
more to add to that.
All right, man. So,
well, wait. I do.
Oh, talk to me.
So, seeing people on Instagram, stuff like that, the ones that will catch my attention a lot of the times are the guys that are just cranking out work. Just
dude.
Work ethic beyond like you can imagine. Like, how are you creating this much content?
Bro.
And are you on drugs? Are you on obscene amounts of caffeine? Like, what is it? But quite honestly, like, you just earn a lot of respect from people that are just working their asses off. Like, I feel like Dylan is one of them.
Yeah, dude, man, big shout out to a friend of ours. His name is Dylan. Dylan dude. When I said this man was cranking out content, I mean he was shooting every day. Had like at least 3 to 4 shoots lined up every single day, And I was like, bro, how are you doing this? I'm tired looking at you. You know what I mean?
That's honestly who I was referencing whenever I brought that up. But guys like him, because there obviously are others, but from a first, that's the first person that came up for me.
Yeah, and I think that people fail to realize, bro, that as you continue cranking out content, you don't realize like how much better you're getting until you look back. You know what I mean?
So you're scrolling down on your feed,
and you're like, oh, I shot. It's like, oh my gosh, I shot like that. Like, and then you switch it up, and you're like, yo, man. And I would say this, man, like, I think, and this is the last thing that I'll touch on for this question, but I think it's a really good one, is like, if you look at this setup that we have right now, man, like before, I couldn't tell you like how to get this look. Like, I wouldn't be able to tell you. I'd be like, they got a couple of lights around and that looks good right there. And like, that's it. But
so, I feel like Joseph kind of fished for compliments earlier. So I'm going to fish for one right now. Where'd you learn? I wouldn't say.
Can I cut you off and just give you the compliment that you're wanting?
I'm waiting, baby.
So as I started working with Tyler was all about lighting, bro. Like me, I think I literally would be the guy that would shoot at golden hour all the time just because I didn't know about lighting, and I let the sun do the work, and everybody told me golden hour is the perfect time, and I said, well, I'm going to go out at the perfect time, and I didn't have to touch any lighting. But once I started working with him, I started realizing like the importance of like, dude, what you can do with a camera and what you can do with just lights is everything. I stopped worrying so much about cameras, dude. I started looking more at lights more than anything because that's the most important thing around here, man. And so working with him really has allowed me and learned to be like, hey, man, I know what to do. I can make a hotel room look good. Like, I'm not trying to act bold or anything, but it's like once you know the elements of it, you can do it with your household lights. Right. You know what I mean?
You really can.
So, yeah, definitely crank.
Yes.
Be cranking out
I got what I was looking for. No, I am fulfilled.
All right, man. Yeah, you go ahead and fulfill
Oh,
yourself.
what was I gonna? I was gonna bring up something.
Oh, you got a question, bro?
Oh, not a question per se, but when we talked about the feed, I know a lot of people that will go back and delete old posts.
Oh my God, dude. That's a good. Can I rant? Can I?
Go for it.
Oh
Go
my
for
God,
it.
I want to go in on some people. Okay, dude. Okay, check this out. Let me tell you a quick story. So I was in New York City, and I made like a little photo meet. I think I had maybe around anywhere from like 15 to like 20 cats that came out to like the little photo meet that I put on. Literally spur of the moment, couple of days before, right? And so these guys came out to go and shoot. And then there was this one guy that he was like, hey, man, your photos look dope. How is it that you can get your feed to look so good? And I said, well, let's take a look at it. And so then once I went ahead and looked at like his feed, I said, hey, bro, why you got 6 photos on your feed? Like 6 photos, bro. And he was like, oh, man, it's because like I start and then it just doesn't look good. So I delete them all. And I just like start over, fresh slate. And he was like kind of trying to like, what's the term? He was trying to convince me that it was the right thing to do to start with the clean slate,
No.
But anyway, I'll hand that off to you because I think we're in the same direction. Going in the same direction.
And for me personally, so my Instagram, it's a little bit more definitive now, but I started off my Instagram because it's kind of like a book of memories for me.
Okay.
And so I could easily go back and delete all the ones that I didn't think really fit the feed or weren't my best work. But I think I like to see people's progression over the years rather than just like, oh, here's 6 bangers that I put out. The best photos I've ever taken out of the hundreds of thousands of photos.
Facts.
For me, I think it's more so like this is where I started. And this is where I'm at now.
Yeah,
like
dude.
It's great to see the progression.
No, absolutely. And I would say that I actually, dude, I don't know if you've ever done this, but I like going to YouTube and I like seeing people's stuff that I like. And I like going all the way to the back. Like literally hit that filter button.
Guilty.
Yeah. Go to the filter button, hit that button and then be like oldest first. And I look at that and I'm like, and I want to see it and be like, wow, this is where you started, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And like, and that's the thing, man, is that like, everyone has a starting point, bro. Like I just hate it whenever people start comparing themselves. People have compared themselves to me, and I'm not saying I'm the best ever because I'm not. But I hate whenever they're comparing their like 500th photo to my like 10,000th photo. You know what I mean? Like, let's be real about it.
Yeah.
Like how many miles have you put on your camera, dude? I put more miles on it. You know what I'm saying? Like for real. Like think about it. You know what I mean?
No, I'm with you on that one.
So on the whole thing, as far as like Instagram is concerned, like how do you feel about somebody being like, I don't know, like verified or like published on Instagram? Like what you think about that?
What's crazy is people think verified often has to do with the amount of followers, likes, all that. I literally saw someone that had 800 followers yesterday. Verified.
800 followers?
So good on them.
Are you lying to me right now?
No, I could probably pull it up. No, but one thing that I've been noticing a lot lately is, this is kind of off topic in a way, is people putting published either as a model or photographer in their bio.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's great.
Congratulations.
But at least reference where you've been published, like published in this magazine.
Dude,
or
I'm
this
so mean.
article.
I was like, okay, bro, you want a cookie? Like, I don't care, dude.
I know, and I think people think it gets somewhere, and to some it may. Some people may be like, oh, they're published. Like, oh, awesome. Little do they know they're published by
awesome.
whatever small magazine, which has no impact on anything.
Right.
We've been published.
Facts.
I don't ever see or feel the need to put published in our bio because it doesn't matter. And if we were to ever, which would never happen, do so, we would. I personally would reference where we've been published.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, it's like, oh, published.
Yeah, no, big facts, man. Like, and I think I get more frustrated with those kind of concepts because it's like, okay, I'm gonna bring this up. We're not on it at all. Pretty much at all anymore, but we used to be like really big into Clubhouse back in the day, and we were like in pretty much, it was like just like live podcasts with all these people that right? And one thing that really annoyed me was that everybody in there, right, bro? Like everybody just wanted to flex. Am I right or am I right?
Had like 47 of their clients listed, and maybe one of them were someone that you would recognize.
Yeah,
is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, dude. Like there was just so much. Everybody was just trying to flex on there. And like, and it just
DP, AC.
Yeah.
Like 17 different titles.
Exactly. And they were saying like I shot with Casey Neistat and then I shot with, Red Bull. And I'm like, congratulations. Like,
I'd rather just hear your experience than read it. Like, just pretty much list what you're capable of doing. Rather than trying to name drop for clout.
Yeah, dude. Like here's one of the biggest things that frustrated me was like, okay, so a lot of times in Clubhouse, what you would do is like people would introduce themselves, and they would introduce themselves with like all these random titles that like nobody cared about. You know what it kind of reminds me of? If you guys saw the movie Anger Management, bro, they go, Dave, tell me who you are. And he's like, well, my name is Dave. I'm a pretty easygoing guy. He's like, no, Dave, you're describing your personality. I want to know who you are. And he goes, I like to play tennis on occasion. He's like, Dave, I don't want to know your hobbies. I want to know who you are. And he like freaks out and he gets like all mad or whatever. And that was the thing that really like bugged me. And so like whenever I like would go into Clubhouse, I wouldn't say anything about who I worked with. I wouldn't do anything like that because I just want to be a regular dude, man. Like you'll start realizing that the individuals that truly are famous or they're big creators, they don't talk about any of their accomplishments because their accomplishments create a presentation or actually present them before they even get there. They want to be treated as a regular human being.
Mm-hmm. And there's a handful of guys that I know that have very low following counts. They hardly post, whatever, and they're the ones working on these massive projects.
Facts, dude.
Massive projects.
And I feel like that's pretty consistent, man. Like I'm going to tell you this. The people that are constantly like, if people are responding to your DMs like really fast and they're like, they're posting and they're like talking to you and commenting back and they're in the YouTube comments all the time, bro, those are the guys that they're probably not working as hard as you think, if I'm being honest, or they're really, really working hard because honestly, the people that are working hard, they're not spending as much time on there, bro.
No, for sure. And I feel like that's very true with even things as far as Instagram stories. Like, oh, we're shooting this, so let's shoot 57 stories on it just to show that I'm working. Like, yeah, show what you're working and shooting, great. But I think kind of keep it a little bit more modest might get you a little bit further.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, I mean, I would just say whenever it comes down to it, like, don't be that guy that ends up like just being a douche or trying to like flex on anybody. You're not impressing anyone.
Real quick though, if you are listing your previous clients to potential clients or like on your website,
okay, I think that's different.
That's different. But in regards to a social setting, I think there needs to be a line of like, yes, tell people that you're experienced without sounding arrogant and cocky.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I was referring more to like when you're having conversation, like you're networking and you're talking to like different like creators.
Right.
Like you don't want to bring that up.
And like Clubhouse, like what?
Like, bro, what does it matter? Like nobody's going to remember that. It's live. No one can even replay this joint. Right. It is what it is.
And if you know the information or the topic that is at hand, then you know the topic and you can speak on stuff. Like you don't have to, I don't feel like you really need to prove yourself necessarily.
Yeah, exactly. So, no, yeah, absolutely. Yo, guys, I think that's pretty good for today. Y'all got some really dope questions. So, like, I was actually pretty impressed by some of those questions that they got. But, excuse me. So,
wow, how rude.
So that was actually like really dope. Feel free to hit us up on Instagram. You got at Keyword King here. My name is Joseph. You got at Tyler Manisphoto on Instagram as well. And this is the 180 Degree Podcast. Thank you so much for listening. And we will see you guys in the next one.
And drop us some more questions.
Oh, thank you.